And a very good morning to you. It's 3 minutes past 6 o'clock. It's Wednesday, the 1st of March. I'm James Max. This is Talk TV's Early Breakfast Show with you till 6:30 when Julia Hartley-Brewer will be here. Still plenty to talk to you about. We'll be going through the papers. Going to be joined live in the studio by Paul Britton. He's a top criminal defence solicitor. We'll be going through the big front pages and the stories that he's picked out, finding out about the publicity-shy couple, of course, who have been booted out of their house. The implications of that Brexit deal, the Windsor framework, talking about the UK facing a bit of a double blow on inflation. Telling kids about gender is in the Sun newspaper. We'll find out about that story. Talking of gender, also in the Sun is a story about Isla Bryson, formerly known as Adam Graham. What sentence did they get, and is it enough? And we'll be talking about that house, which, if you've got a spare few quid, you might be able to buy. But I'm wondering if you can help me. What are the benefits of Brexit? We turn our attention to the papers. Paul Britton is a top criminal defence solicitor. Joins me now. Paul, good morning.
Very good morning, James.
Is defence solicitor right, or are you... yes, that's right.
Criminal defence solicitor,
Is that right, or lawyer?
Yeah.
Do you prefer solicitor or a lawyer?
In this country, lawyers are everybody. Everybody's a lawyer.
Everyone's a lawyer.
That works in...
So you prefer a solicitor?
Yeah, well, there was a good case, actually, in the Daily Express where a woman has taken British Airways to court. She's just got an A-level in law, so she would be a lawyer because she's got an A-level in law.
Oh, she's got knowledge.
Yeah, she's got knowledge.
Well done her.
Yeah.
Did she win?
She did win. She used some old law under the Law Reform Act, where she booked some flights to Japan in 2020. She couldn't go because of the lockdowns. She got a voucher instead. The voucher expired. She couldn't go to Japan because they kept their borders closed for longer. She said to British Airways, OK, well, I'll have the money instead. They said no, and she fought it all the way, and she was successful. Well, well done her. Yeah. Good work.
Meanwhile, we've got a job to do. I can sense your excitement. We're going to go through the front pages of the Times. Deal is not negotiable. Sunak tells the DUP. Prime Minister issues plea to Tories help get Brexit done. And this is, one of the stories which you have highlighted. And I suppose, look, this is the story of our times. On one hand, it's quite interesting. I think that up until the weekend, I think a lot of people were ready to jump on the Prime Minister and Number 10 and the negotiators and say this is terrible and how can you do this, and you sold Britain down the river again, and and actually you've seen from Keir Starmer, he's been supportive, and the Labour Party. I think even the more rabid press have been mildly surprised by some of the concessions that Rishi Sunak has gained. And I think that we have seen a change in tone and a change in mood. It doesn't do everything. Of course it doesn't. There are problems, there are issues. And the curious comment by Rishi Sunak yesterday that if you're in Northern Ireland, you're in the best possible place because you can do deals within the European Union and the single market, and you can do deals with the United Kingdom in their market. It rather paints the case for the single market, which I'm not sure he necessarily intended to do. That having been said, I think the mood has changed.
Well, I mean, I think from that, James, you're a fan now of Rishi. You think he's a rising star.
I don't think I'm not a fan. It's just, put it this way. Keir Starmer's popularity was based on the fact that this government was so hopeless. I don't like Keir Starmer's policies. Some of the policies are pernicious, they are nasty, they are divisive, and they are tax heavy. I don't like his tax policies. I don't like his VAT on school fees, taking away people's choice. I don't like the fact that he seems to treat people's property rights with some disdain. I don't like the fact that he wants to tax in all sorts of ways, and there are lots of things which are there under the surface, which I think people up and down this country will find unpalatable. That having been said, I understand his popularity, that when you saw the shower that was in charge, I just want somebody to be in charge and to lead.
I mean, his opposition, he normally takes a position of opposition for the sake of opposition, but as you said, he's quite supportive of this. Getting Brexit over the line was embarrassing for everybody.
But of course it was. So it was just like, oh, we've got this oven-ready stuff, blah, 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 it's all ready to go. And all they did was come up with a meat deal with Australia. I mean, it was just like, come on, you can do better than that.
I have a feeling this one's going to sail through. Boris has said that he's not going to oppose it. Keir Starmer's not going to, and I'm sure he'll get the Labour Party galvanised on board as well. And
I think this will make a 10-point difference in the polls.
to
Rishi Sunak. It may not get the position back where he's level pegging.
Well, he'll need it. Yeah,
he will need it.
Yeah.
And look, I think
we're a year away now from a general election.
We are, but you see, if he's able to deliver on that, and then the other thing he's got to deliver on is he's got to put more money in people's pockets, and it's not just about handing it out. It's about finding ways that the economy can grow, finding ways in which he can put more money in people's pockets, and finding ways in which he can demonstrate that he will, over time, take less money away to do the things that we want government to do.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard Rishi speak a number of times, and his main focus is getting people out to work.
He's a good speaker. When he did the interview with Piers Morgan,
he's a very good speaker.
I thought people on one-on-one.
Yeah.
I mean, when he's in a large group, he's a little bit sort of speech by numbers, but one-on-one, he's very effective at his communication. And I think when it comes to doing those debates, the problem with Keir Starmer is he's not that good on his feet. He's a good orator.
For a barrister, that's...
Yeah, but he's a barrister. But the thing is that barristers, with all due respect, which means, of course, in legal parlance means no respect at all, with all due respect to lawyers, you're very good at looking at the facts in the past and gathering it together. But some people do not have the ability to look forward with policy. Keir Starmer appears not to be a policy person. He appears to be somebody who's very good at forensically looking over the past.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of barristers like to have a bundle and stick to that, and they think of as many questions as they can that would come up. But then when something is pulled out of the box by a judge or the opposition, it's a little bit hot under the collar, yeah.
Tom Parker Bowles is on the front page of the Times as well. The Royal Secret Weapon. Knowing Tom as I do, I have to say, I think he's played a blinder with how he's dealt with it. I mean, it must be very difficult being the Queen's oldest son, and then being sort of thrown into the limelight on occasion. I mean, he's had to make his own way. He's a well-renowned restaurant critic, written books and done things. I think he's kind of done the whole royal thing the right way, just got on with it.
Yeah, very successful. It's very upbeat news this morning so far.
There we go. Sunak gambles his political career on defying Brexit deal critics. Well done him.
Yeah.
Although there is another story, which I have no intention of doing, although Stanley, my dog, might be keen on it. Let them eat squirrel. There's a recipe. Page 5, I'm tempted. Do you want to have a...
Oh, where is this?
This is in the eye. Here we go. Diners urged to tuck into nutritious squirrel meat after woodland cull. Squirrel croquettes may not be everyone's idea of fine dining, but wildlife campaigners aiming to stop grey squirrels' destruction of woodlands are hoping more restaurants, diners, will develop a taste for the gamey meat.
Well, there's plenty of them.
The Exmoor Squirrel Project in Devon is planning to cull thousands of grey squirrels across a 22-mile tunnel of woodland. And they say that grey squirrels are causing damage, blah, blah, blah. And the recipe here is that you can skin and clean the grey squirrel. You then add a small onion, finely chopped, add some wild garlic, a sprig of fresh thyme, peppercorns and a fresh bay leaf, a little white wine, plenty of butter, 50 grams of strong cheddar or parmesan cheese, risotto rice or barley, and salt and pepper. To make your squirrel croquette.
And it tastes just like chicken, I'm sure.
I don't think it does. I think it's got that sort of gamey taste, which I'm not a fan of. Hold that thought for a moment. John in Staffordshire, hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, James.
Well, do you want squirrel croquettes?
I know nothing about the subject at all, no. Indeed.
Would you? Right, John, you're coming round for dinner. I'm serving squirrel croquettes. Are you joining in the dining, or are you going down the Golden Arches before you turn up?
I don't think my stomach would quite tolerate those, by the sound of it, anyway.
Oh, dear.
I'd stick to good old British food.
Good old British food. What would you... Oh, dear. None of that foreign muck, eh, John?
Well, some of it's good anyway, but we can produce good food in this country as well.
We can indeed. OK, tell me about the benefits of Brexit, John.
Well, how long have you got? I can give you 20 if you want.
No, let's have your top 2.
Well, one of them is the fact that we can now negotiate with the biggest trade partnerships in the world. When I voted to come out in the early 70s, the European Union was about 40% of world trade. Things have changed dramatically since.
This is very true, John, and I sort of wish that the government will focus a little bit more on that, because that's a huge advantage. Let's move to the next one. I agree with you.
One of them would be Schengen. This idea of doing away with borders.
I mean, to be fair, we were never part of Schengen.
No, but the point is, if, for instance, we were still in the European Union. Albania is one of the accession countries that may well be in soon. Turkey is applying with nearly 100 million
Yeah,
people.
I think those are scare stories. I think the chances of Albania or Turkey actually joining the EU are pretty slim. But I do see your point about freedom of movement.
Part of NATO, don't forget, and those people and the people from Eastern Europe in large numbers. We in this country are fewer than 1% of the world's population. The European Union is only single figures. Most of the trade now in the world, and the biggest population, is in Asia.
True, but do you want to be trading that much with China, given what's going on there, John?
Want to trade with the 200 or so countries in the world.
Which is fair enough. Trade probably being the biggest Brexit bonus. John, thank you for that. Let's go to Dave, who's curiously in Essex. Dave, good morning.
Good morning, James.
Good morning, Dave. I'm going to have to be brief with you, but what are the benefits of Brexit?
The benefits are there to be had if we take them, if we take the chance.
Right.
You know.
What's the top one, Dave?
Sorry?
What's the top one?
Migration. Get rid of that. I just can't. I can't stand seeing them people get off of boats wrapped up in baker foil, walking along the beach like overdone sausages. I can't handle much more of this.
Oh dear. You sound like you're getting yourself in a bit of a lather there, Dave.
No, along comes a through line, right? Icy blue eyes, flashes them at Sunak, puts a deal in front of him.
But what about all the people who legitimately come to this country? Should they be allowed?
Well, I look back. Gaddafi said, you get rid of me and you'll be flooded with half of Africa. And he was right. But we still got rid of him. You know, nobody seems to listen, James.
They do listen, Dave, but they also have human empathy, and they understand that migration and immigration is an important part of our cultural mix. We've relied on people coming to this country for hundreds of years in order to do the things that we don't want to do, and it's been very successful, whether it be from Central and Eastern Europe over 100 years ago, whether it be looking at the way that we sorted out our banking system over many years, whether it's the way that we sorted out post-war requirements from the Caribbean and from India and from Pakistan and all these other places. We've done very well from it, thank you very much.
But there has to be a time when it's no. There has to be, or cut down or do something about it. They're doing nothing.
There's a massive shortage in this country at the moment.
There's a massive shortage
in the hospitality sector.
So
really
Dave, Paul says there's a massive shortage. We need to bring loads more people over, Dave. What do you think about that?
Oh, we better tell Lord Wilson that. He can employ them in the hotel business, can't he? He knows all about the hotels.
Yes. So, and this is the point, isn't it? Dave, thank you for your call. We are always going to have those people who are... shall we say that they're very against immigration full stop, as opposed to understanding Britain's great long and traditional heritage. I'm all for immigration, but I wish that we were stronger on illegal immigration.
Yeah.
And that we had better processes for dealing with people who do come to the country legitimately, and also that we found a way that we didn't just lose track of people.
And that's the distinction. I mean, people getting off dinghies wrapped in tin foil, they're coming over and they're chancing it to get into the country, whereas people that are coming out, skilled migrant workers that we desperately need in our hospitality sector.
Well, it's not just the hospitality sector, I can tell you. Right, the Mirror, Arms of Love, they talk about a single dad lost all his limbs in a terrible accident 7 years ago now. An operation means that he can hug his daughter again. The Guardian says no tomatoes, no problems, 12 dishes to get around the shortages. I mean, really, the fuss that is being made about tomatoes.
This is one of the serious issues that face this country, James.
I went to the supermarket yesterday.
There's no tomatoes.
No, but I went to the supermarket yesterday. I almost took a picture of it. There were so many blooming tomatoes. Anyway, NHS, £14 billion recovery plan already failing to meet targets. What a surprise. The Telegraph, Hancock rejected Whitty's advice on care home tests. We'll talk about that story in a moment, perhaps. We'll also talk about Frogsit, which is the story on the front page of The Sun. Daily Mail leads on police. We have fear that the baby has come to harm. This is the missing aristocrat Constance Martin and her lover. They're found and held on manslaughter. Daily Express, Rishi's Brexit boost for Britain, and The Star talks about turnips. 03444991000 to join the conversation. We'll get more stories from Paul in just a moment here on Talk TV. 22 minutes past 6, going through the papers with Paul Britton, top criminal defence solicitor. Just breaking news this morning that probably would be on the front pages, given that it's a significant story. 2 trains have collided in northern Greece, loss of at least 32 lives, 85 injured. I dare say we'll have more coverage of that story during the course of the day. And another story which is dominating the headlines a lot, I suppose, is the front page of the Daily Telegraph. So this is a huge leak revealing conversations from 100,000 texts showing the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, rejected the Chief Medical Officer's advice to test all residents going into English care homes. I mean, if you're the Health Secretary, or you were the Health Secretary, and this kind of revelation is made, you can probably never go back into politics again, can you?
I mean, if you keep reading that same article, between the 17th of April and the 13th of August, nearly 18,000 people died of COVID in care homes, and over the 2 years of the pandemic, 40,000 deaths in care homes. I mean, they're massive figures, and for something that's a very small restriction, as in just test people that are coming not just from hospitals, because that was the rule initially, from hospitals, but from also the public and the community. What would that number be today? You see, I think retrospect and hindsight will tell us that the big measures that they took, look, the first lockdown I understood, the second and subsequent ones I didn't, and a whole range of things that they were doing, instead of identifying where vulnerable people were and how vulnerable people could perhaps be isolated and helped, as opposed to just locking up the whole nation. To my mind, that's where they got it wrong, and we will continue to see this. So I'm sure that will be a discussion point throughout the day. However, let's turn our attention to the front page of The Sun. Frogsit. I mean, this is the most extraordinary story, and it looks as if it's not kind of recent, if you like. This was soon after Harry released his book Spare, where all the things that he complained about the media doing, all the things that he said about, you know, this is how he was treated. He didn't seem to think that there was any responsibility on him and the implications of what he revealed. And it looks like the King got cross and said, right, Hoppet, get out of Frogmore Cottage. No, I mean, look, Harry and Meghan aren't using Frogmore Cottage, so it's sitting there empty. But this is a story on multiple levels. Not only is King Charles throwing them out or asking them to leave, but Prince Andrew is the one that's going to be apparently moving in as well.
It looks like it's the naughty royal cottage.
And will they be invited to the coronation? Meghan and Harry, I mean.
I would say that neither of them are particularly welcome. They might have to be there for
family Andrew
reason. Listen, they can sit in the crowd. It's his brother. He can sit in the crowd. He should not be involved in any official part of the ceremonials.
I agree.
That would be my view. Neither of them. If they want to turn up as members of the congregation, fine, but do not do anything. I don't want them holding a sceptre, being in a procession, none of that.
And what about security if they are in the crowd? Do they get security?
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. So they should. In the same way that we give security to all our former Prime Ministers. OK, The Times. Double blow on inflation. I mean, we discussed this already. We know that food inflation is running at over 17%.
That's right.
Quite when the politicians will realise that they need to do something with the tax system, I don't know.
Yeah, and non-food items are approaching 6%, so that's why that story is a double whammy. It's not only is food stable at around 17.1, but we've also got the problem now with non-food items.
School. What have they been telling children about gender?
Yeah, that there are 72 different genders.
Wow.
And one pupil, these are pupils as young as 11, one of the pupils said, no, there's only 2, and he was dismissed and told to leave the classroom. I think it's either a transgender teacher or a cross...
I think it's a drag queen who was...
A drag queen, that's right, a drag queen who's teaching.
I mean, I do think that there are real problems with this, in the sense that the debate has now become so toxic that you can't have a sensible... in order to be able to make a decision, you need to have all the facts and the information. And
well, that's right. I mean, we can't villainise the drag queen for teaching about the genders, but I mean, what is the school putting in the syllabus? That's really the salient point.
Who only knows? Meanwhile, Isla Bryson, so this is this case of this individual who was a man, raped twice, 8 years was the only sentence. I mean, it's just one has to wonder why the heck the sentence wasn't harsher.
Well, that's Adam Graham, born Adam Graham, is going to a male prison.
Is that the right decision?
Absolutely, yeah, it's absolutely right. He's clearly a danger to women, and you know, we have to protect people not only in our prisons but the public in general. So it's absolutely right that he goes into a male prison. But he'll then come out after the 8 years on licence, so he'll be licensed for 3 years.
He will indeed. Now to a story which I'm sure you as a solicitor will have your eyes on this and possibly go shopping. It's in the Times, it's also in many of the papers today. This is a mansion that's on sale, record price.
This is a great one, yeah, £250 million mansion. It's Regent's Park's Manor, which was one of John Nash's creations. He's most famous for Brighton Pavilion. John Nash lost his job when he was doing Buckingham Palace, which eventually cost, in today's money, roughly £70 million.
Well, indeed. 29,000 square foot, 40-bedroom property, as you said, on the market, 250 million quid with 4 acres in Regent's Park. Well, I know somebody who is looking at that, and they'll probably be going around and doing a tour later today. It's Julia Hartley-Brooke, but she's got to do a breakfast show first. Julia, good morning to you.
Upgrading from a flat.
We're off there later.
Yeah.
They are beautiful, some of those places.
They are
Once
glorious.
again, we are reminded, should have married better. That's all I'm saying.
That's the point.
My husband says that every day, don't worry.